The war room of the Galactic Command buzzed with the disciplined chaos of military precision. Representatives from three galactic empires, the Moravic Empire, the Silicate Collective, and the Liquid Metal Consortium, gathered around a circular chamber, its dome ceiling adorned with real-time star charts that shimmered like a cosmic tapestry. Holographic displays projected intricate tactical data, mapping out the conquest of a distant world known as Epsilon 7, or Earth. The air thrummed with the hum of quantum processors, coordinating operations across galaxies. This was the nerve center where civilizations were shaped, their fates sealed over strategic briefings. Then, without warning, Lieutenant Colonel Derek Walsh appeared. He stood in the center of the chamber, a human in a standard Earth military uniform, holding a steaming cup of coffee that seemed to defy the laws of thermodynamics. His arrival was so seamless that for a heartbeat, no one noticed. One moment, the room held only the alien commanders. The next, there he was, looking mildly perplexed, as if he'd taken a wrong turn on his morning commute. "Well," Derek sighed, his voice cutting through the stunned silence, "this is definitely not the Pentagon cafeteria." The room erupted in a cacophony of reactions. General Sex's vial of the Moravic Empire, his exoskeleton flashing a neon orange hue of alarm, was the first to recover. "How did you get here?" he demanded, his translator struggling to convert his chittering clicks into Galactic standard. "This facility is protected by 17 defensive systems, quantum encryption barriers, and reality stabilizers." Derek took a sip of his coffee, unfazed, and surveyed the room with an appreciative nod. "I walked," he said casually, "though, I'll admit, the route was more interesting than usual. Nice work on the quantum barriers, by the way. Very elegant." Admiral Thrax of the Silicate Collective, her crystalline form cycling through colors unseen by most species, emitted a sound akin to crystalline screaming. "Walked through the void of space, through our defenses." "Mostly through the parking garage," Derek replied, his tone dry. "Though I did take a detour through what might have been a parallel dimension, or a really confusing subway system. The signage could use some work." The commander's universal translators struggled to process the barrage of alien reactions, sounds of panic, disbelief, and mathematical impossibilities having existential crises. Commander Villain of the Liquid Metal Consortium, his form rippling nervously, pointed to the holographic displays. "Your species is classified as a Category 5 existential threat. Operation Cleansing Dawn has been authorized to neutralize Earth before it becomes a galactic problem." Derek's eyes flicked to the displays, which showed an armada of 47,000 ships in perfect attack formation, detailed invasion plans, and projected casualty figures. He took another sip of his coffee. "Primary target," he repeated, his voice conversational but laced with a chilling undertone. "That's an interesting way to describe my home planet." The temperature in the war room seemed to drop as Derek's grip on his coffee mug tightened, a subtle motion noticed by every commander trained to read body language. General Kazarth of the Hive Collective, his compound eyes narrowing, spoke up. "You're human, from Epsilon 7. How is this possible?" Derek set his coffee down and pulled a standard Earth tablet from his jacket pocket. With a casual tap, he interfaced with the war room's holographic console, and the displays flickered. Suddenly, every screen showed a cascade of classified information: real-time fleet positions, communication intercepts, personnel files, and psychological profiles of every commander present. Admiral Thrax's fear of small spaces was laid bare, as were General Zixthal's nightmares about soft things that move in darkness. "We know about Operation Cleansing Dawn," Derek said, his voice calm but unyielding. "We know about your fleets, your invasion plans, the council session where you voted to classify us as a threat. We even know about the betting pools your junior officers started on how long the conquest would take." The room descended into chaos. Aliens shouted in dozens of languages, their translators overwhelmed by expressions of panic. General Zixthal's exoskeleton clicked in agitation, teetering on the edge of a breakdown. "How?" he demanded. Our encryption is unbreakable. Your encryption is very good, Derek agreed. We should know. We helped design it. The revelation hit like a shockwave. The commanders scrambled to check their communication devices, confirming that their deepest secrets had been compromised. Derek continued, unfazed. We've been watching for quite some time. First meaningful contact with the Moravic Empire was in 1847, during your geological survey of the Caper for 140 system. Impressive mineral extraction protocols, by the way. We learned a lot. Admiral Thrax's crystalline form emitted a sound like a wind chime in a shredder. Your species didn't achieve interstellar travel until recently, according to whose records? Derek asked, his tablet displaying a montage of Earth's history as seen by the aliens, a primitive world progressing from agriculture to industry to space flight. Then the image flickered, revealing a different reality, cities that existed in multiple dimensions, transport networks defying physics, and energy systems tapping into impossible sources. Humans move through this world as if reality-bending technology was mundane. Perception management, Derek explained. It's easier to let people see what they expect. Prevents awkward questions and allows for natural cultural development. General Mork's compound eyes shimmered with intensity. How long have you been able to do this? Derek's tone grew philosophical. Define this. We've always been like this. The question and how long we've been capable, it's why we let you think we weren't. The war room fell silent, save for the frantic beeping of communication devices as the Galactic military network grappled with the security breach. Derek's tablet displayed historical footage, alien vessels exploring the galaxy, establishing trade routes, building interstellar civilizations. In every image, humans were present, subtle, unnoticed, influencing events with small suggestions that shaped galactic history. We've been studying you, Derek said quietly. Every species, every culture, every military doctrine. We wanted to understand who we'd be dealing with before we introduced ourselves. Admiral Thrax's crystalline form produced harmonics like music. Why reveal yourselves now? Because you were about to make a catastrophic mistake, Derek replied, his tone shifting to one of grave authority. The displays showed the invasion plans again, with casualty figures that spelled the collapse of entire civilizations. You saw a primitive species that might become a threat. You didn't see what was actually there. And what was actually there? Commander Villain asked, his liquid metal form still as glass. Neighbors, Derek said simply. Potential partners who wanted to be part of your galactic community, not destroy it. The silence that followed was profound, as the commanders processed a shift in their understanding of reality. General Zixtel broke the quiet. What happens now? Derek set his coffee mug down with a soft clink. Now we talk. About trade, technology, culture, everything neighbors discuss when they meet properly, and if we refuse. Admiral Thrax asked, her tone cautious, then we'll respect your decision and maintain the status quo. Derek said sincerely, but I hope you won't. We've been looking forward to this conversation for a long time. His tablet chimed, and Derek's expression brightened. Excellent. Ambassador Williams has just arrived at the Galactic Council chambers. In the Galactic Council chambers, chaos reigned. Representatives from dozens of species sat in stunned silence. Ambassador Janet Williams, a human woman in her 50s, appeared in an empty chair. She reviewed a diplomatic briefing on a device, identical to Derek's, her demeanor calm and professional. Good morning, everyone, she said, her voice warm and unruffled. I'm Ambassador Janet Williams, representing the United Earth government. Thank you for accepting our request. For formal diplomatic dialogue, the council speaker, a reptilian figure with scales that shimmered nervously, protested. We didn't accept any request. We weren't aware Earth had a unified government. Oh, but we have, Williams replied pleasantly. We've maintained a unified planetary government for some time. We just haven't used it for external relations until today. Back in the war room, Derek watched the proceedings with satisfaction, fielding questions from the commanders. She's exceptional at this, he said. Much better than I am with diplomacy. I'm more of a show-up and see what happens kind of person. How many of you are there? General Zixtel asked, his exoskeleton now cycling through colors of admiration. About 9 billion? Last census, Derek replied. Though it varies depending on how you define human and whether you count those exploring alternate dimensional frameworks. The display shifted to show Ambassador Williams commanding the Council's attention. I understand this is overwhelming, she said, her voice carrying natural authority. Sudden change always is, but humanity comes in peace. We always have, the Council speaker's voice trembled. You've infiltrated our secure facilities, observed us for centuries without consent. We've been learning, Williams corrected gently. There's a significant difference. We wanted to understand you before we introduced ourselves, to ensure we could coexist peacefully, and if we had decided we couldn't. The speaker asked. William's smile held depths of knowledge. Then we wouldn't be having this conversation. Back in the war room, Derek's tablet chimed with a concerning message. Some of your commanders are having difficulty accepting the new paradigm, he said, his tone serious. The displays showed several alien fleets repositioning for combat, their intent clear, an attack on Earth. They're going to try, Derek said, his voice carrying quiet certainty. There's a difference between attempting and accomplishing. Admiral, Thrax's crystalline form produced harmonics of concern. You have to stop them. If they force you to defend yourselves, they won't reach Earth, Derek interrupted. The displays revealed millions of human vessels scattered throughout the invasion fleet, undetected by sensors, designed to track the smallest particles. Human figures moved across alien ship hulls, unprotected in the vacuum, examining technology with casual curiosity. How are they surviving in space? Thrax demanded. Different evolutionary path, Derek said with a shrug. Earth isn't a gentle world. When your planet tries to kill you in creative ways, you adapt in interesting directions. The attacking fleet fired, unleashing a barrage that could crack a planet's crust. The energy beams passed through empty space, dissipating harmlessly. Earth remained untouched, as if the attack had never occurred. We shifted the probability matrix, Derek explained, for the duration of the attack. Earth existed in a quantum state where the weapons couldn't affect it. Simple physics. Once you see reality as a suggestion rather than a rigid framework, General Mork stared in awe. You move the concept of a planet, much more efficient than moving the actual mass, Derek replied. The attacking fleet retreated, escorted by human vessels that had reappeared as suddenly as they'd vanished. Are you going to destroy them? Commander Villain asked. Derek looked shocked. Why would we? They were following orders, scared, trying to protect their people. We'll escort them home safely. The tablet chimed again, and Derek smiled. The Council has agreed to formal diplomatic relations and negotiations for a cooperation agreement. In the Council chambers, Ambassador Williams was surrounded by representatives engaged in productive discussion. The panic had given way to cautious optimism, the chaos to organized progress. How did she do that? General Zixtel asked, his exoskeleton now radiating admiration. She told the truth, Derek said. That we want to learn, share, and grow together. And she backed it up by withdrawing our people from your secure networks voluntarily, publicly. So, you could verify our good faith. The commanders absorbed the implications. If humans had access to every secret for centuries and gave it up, as a gesture of trust, it spoke volumes about their intentions. Why? General Mork asked. Because trust has to start somewhere, Derek said, and we decided it should start with us. The display showed Williams signing the Galactic Partnership Accords, a historic agreement between species that had been at odds for generations. In less than 2 hours, she had turned a crisis into a foundation for cooperation. She's remarkable, Admiral Thrax admitted, her harmonics like applause. She's the best, Derek agreed. That's why I came to talk to you soldiers. You understand realities diplomats sometimes don't. The most dangerous enemy is one you underestimate. And the most valuable ally is one you trust completely. The war room fell silent as the commanders processed the day's events. Derek's demonstration of human capabilities had been overwhelming, but restrained. They could have conquered the galaxy, but chose to reveal themselves as neighbors. What happens now? General Zixtel asked. Now we go home, Derek said, his expression a mix of satisfaction and hope. Your fleets return to their bases. Our people withdraw from your space, and tomorrow we start figuring out how to be partners. And if some can't accept that? Admiral Thrax asked. Derek's smile was sad but determined. We'll protect ourselves and them. There's a difference between defeating and destroying. We've had a long time to think about what works. He stood, his movement commanding the room's attention. Gentlemen, it's been an honor. I hope this is the beginning of a long and prosperous relationship. As he stepped toward the wall, Commander Villain called out, How do we contact you? How do we know this isn't a deception? Derek paused, his expression warm but sincere. We've been honoring our word for 2.5 centuries. We've watched you grow, make mistakes, show mercy, create art that moved us. That's why we're here, not because we need you, but because we want to know you. He stepped through the wall, leaving a silence filled with the hum of life support systems and the distant sound of cooperation replacing conquest. General Mork stared at the empty space. What do we tell our superiors? General Zixtel looked at the display, now showing Earth as it truly was a planet of incredible capability, harmonizing technology with nature. We tell them the truth, he said. We came to conquer a primitive species and found teachers instead. The display flickered, revealing cities that blended with the fundamental forces of reality, humans living with quiet confidence, offering partnership rather than dominance. We were wrong about Earth, Zixtel said, his voice humbled as the crisis alerts fell silent. Those words carried the weight of a new era. The age of human secrecy had ended, and the age of galactic partnership had begun. Somewhere in the depths of space, Derek Walsh was already planning humanity's next introduction, one that would be remembered not for fear, but for the possibilities it opened and the friendships it forged.